في ساحة للعلم كنا نلتقي والحب والإخلاص زاد قلوبنا.
Al-Aswad As-Sulumi radiallahu anhu was a Sahabi who had no status amongst the people. He had no money, he had no wealth. And he said, "O Messenger of Allah, if I embrace, do I also go into Jannah?" And the Prophet ﷺ said, "Yes." He said, "What is my status in Jannah?" And the Prophet ﷺ said, "You will attain what is for Abu Bakr and Umar and the rest of the Sahaba." And then he said, "O Messenger of Allah, why is it that nobody is ready to give me their daughter?" And the Prophet ﷺ said, "Is Amr ibn Wahab here?" And Amr ibn Wahab was one of the leaders of Medina. And they said, "O Messenger of Allah, no, he's not here." And the Prophet ﷺ said, "Sa'd, go to Amr's house and tell him that I've sent you to request his daughter's hand in marriage." And Sa'd went. He was elated because Amr was known for, he was one of the leaders of Medina, and his daughter was known for her beauty. And Sa'd knocked on the door, and Amr opened the door. And Sa'd radiallahu anhu said, "Oh Amr, the Messenger of Allah sent me to ask your daughter's hand in marriage." And Amr looked at him and he said, "You, my daughter?" He said, "Don't you know I'm Amr, one of the leaders of Medina? Don't you know my daughter is known for her beauty?" He said, "On your bike." And his daughter was listening to this. And she said, "Oh my father, wait. This is a request of the Messenger of Allah. Where will we be if we turn down the request of the Messenger of Allah?" And she turned to Sa'd and she said, "Oh Sa'd, go back and tell the Messenger of Allah, I am ready to marry you." And the nikah was performed on 400 dirhams. And Sa'd said, "Messenger of Allah, 400 dirhams, I've never seen 400 dirhams." And the Prophet ﷺ said, "Go to Ali, Uthman and Abdul Rahman ibn Auf and ask each one of them to give you 200 dirhams each." And he went to him and every single one of them gave him 200 plus dirhams. And he thought, before he goes back to his wife, let him go to the marketplace and buy some presents for his new beautiful wife. And he went into the marketplace and he was buying his presents. And all of a sudden there was a call, "Ya khaylallahi irkabi, Ya khaylallahi irkabi bil jannati abshiri." The call of jihad came. And the narration mentioned that Sa'd stood there and he looked to the heavens and he said, "Lord of the heavens and the earth, I will buy that which is pleasing unto thee." And he bought a sword and he bought a horse. And he went into the battlefield and he covered his face because he knew if the Prophet ﷺ saw him, he would send him back. He would say, "Sa'd, you just got married, go back to your wife." And the Sahaba began to discuss amongst them, "Who is this man? Never seen him covering his face." And Ali radiallahu anhu said, "He's come to fight, leave him." And the narration mentioned Sa'd went into the battlefield and his horse was struck and he fell off the horse. And when he fell off his horse, he stood up and he went like this. He pulled up his sleeves and the Prophet ﷺ saw his dark skin and he said, "Oh Sa'd, is that you?" And Sa'd radiallahu anhu said, "May my mother and my father be sacrificed for your Messenger of Allah. It is Sa'd." And the Prophet ﷺ said, "Oh Sa'd, there is no abode for you but Jannah." And Sa'd became elated and he jumped back into the battlefield. And after a while there was a call, "Usiba Sa'd, Usiba Sa'd." Sa'd has been martyred, Sa'd has been martyred. And the narration mentioned that the Prophet ﷺ ran into the battlefield. He ran into the battlefield and he took Sa'd and he placed his head upon his thigh. And tears were flowing from the cheeks to the face of Sa'd radiallahu anhu. And the Prophet ﷺ, after a while, he began to smile. And then he turned away. And the Sahaba were standing there. They said, "Messenger of Allah, we saw you do something today which we've never seen you do before. You cried, you smiled, and then you turned away." And the Prophet ﷺ said, "I cried upon the departure of my beloved companion. But when I saw his status by Allah, I began to smile because he had reached the Hawd." And the Sahaba said, "What is the Hawd, O Messenger of Allah?" He said, "It is water, a fountain which is given to me, where the water is sweeter than honey and whiter than milk. And whoever drinks from it will never be thirsty again." And then they said, "What about this turning around, O Messenger of Allah?" And the Prophet ﷺ said that, "I saw his wives in Jannah running towards him. And they were running with so much eagerness that their shins were becoming unveiled. And I looked the other way." And then the Prophet ﷺ turned to the Sahaba and they said, "This is his horse and this is his sword. Take it to his wife and tell her that this is what he has left behind. And inform her that Allah has given him women and wives in Jannah which are even more beautiful than she is." This was a man who a couple of hours ago didn't know because of his status in society that would he actually enter into Jannah. But this was his status by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us people who are heavy in his scales. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us united in this dunya. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reunite us in Jannatul Firdaus. Subhanakallah wa bihamdika.